Welcome back to the single most important Silksong challenge run on YouTube, the Pogo Only Challenge. Technically, I already beat the game in the last video, so I could be done with this challenge already, but what would be the fun in that? Some of the coolest content and best bosses in the game are locked within Act 3. So you'd best believe that for this challenge run, and probably most of my future runs, I won't be victorious until I've achieved the true ending of the game. Without further ado, let's get into it. The start of Act 3 is so damn peak, bro. Having to break your literal save file free from the void tendrils that cover it, getting the name drop of the Abyss as the title of Act 3, and waking up in the cradle with everything in shambles, having to crawl through the cramped ventilation systems of the Citadel to make it back. In the end, waking up in Songclave thanks to, saved by my goat? Sherma to the rescue yet again. As I was saying, the whole intro sequence to Act 3 is just perfect. One of the best ways to create an unsettling atmosphere for a player is to take what they're used to, who and what they're familiar with, and just change it up. And I think Silksong has done that here in Act 3 perfectly, creating one of the most memorable moments in gaming, not just from this year, but of all time. The perfect cherry on top is what happens when you try to call for the Bell Beast, your means of fast travel. She's been a companion for basically the entirety of the game up till now, and this happens. The Bell Eater is a mixed bag of a boss. The atmosphere and presentation of the fight is top tier, but the fight itself is a little bit meh. I don't actually dislike the fight at all, it just has a couple flaws. It's the big example of a fight in which, even if you know the fight inside and out, sometimes you just have to wait, since the boss has multiple attacks that you just have to dodge since you can't get any hits during them. That problem is especially exacerbated in this challenge, as half of the attacks the boss does are from the ceiling. Normally, there would be plenty of time to jump up and get a few hits on the boss while it's on the ceiling like this, but unfortunately, they removed Hornet's ability to reverse gravity and pogo upside down from the last patch. Thankfully, the fight actually isn't as bad as I was expecting. I can get in hits relatively frequently, so while it's more annoying than normal to fight, it's by no means the worst I've had to deal with in this challenge. Yep, definitely more annoying than normal. There we go. I think that's it. The way he just left. Yes. Yo, Bell Mommy, come here. Yo, okay, I take it back. 10 out of 10 fight. This is absolute cinema. Peak ending to the fight and peak reward for the fight. Nah, but seriously though, the Beastling Call is insanely useful. In a game with such a big map, being able to teleport to the nearest fast travel station from basically anywhere is amazing. My only hang up with it is that I kind of just feel like there's no reason to only get it in Act 3 after so many hours into the game. Like, yeah, I'm happy it's here at all, but damn, it would have been nice to have this a lot earlier. With fast travel re-unlocked, the first thing I do is visit Grindel's shop in the Blasted Steppes. In Act 3, you can buy one of the only yellow tools that are useful for combat, the Magnetite Dice. I could have gotten these earlier in Act 2, but if I'm being honest, I did not know how to do that until after I played this run. Well, with the state Everloom is in, and the one responsible for this state nowhere to be seen in Songclave, Hornet returns to the ruined chapel looking for answers, and plot twist. No, seriously, what a cool reveal. Seeing Snail shamans here in my first playthrough was beyond cool. There were definitely signs as to these guys' true identity, mainly with their needle in dialogue, but in my casual playthrough, it was definitely not something I saw coming. The mixed feelings fueled from both seeing the Snail shamans again after so long since Hollow Knight, and the fact that these guys basically just betrayed Hornet and caused the apocalypse makes it so I can't decide whether I love them or hate them. Regardless of my feelings on the matter, the objective is clear. Hornet needs to somehow make her way down into the abyss of Everloom and confront the source of this problem. Luckily, the friends we made in the deep docks, thanks to the good old Wisp Fire Lantern strategy, have just a solution. I must sound like a broken record at this point, but god damn, getting to this area in my first playthrough was just so cool. Thankfully, it's a relatively small area too, so the coolness aspect of it isn't diminished too much on repeat playthroughs. The trusty old strategy of walking past all the enemies never fails, and it's not too long before we reach the Lake of Void where Grandmother Silk is trapped. I have already stood the Sentinel for One Dying Land. That role I would never play again. Oh my god, Hornet, you're just so fucking cool, bro. There's really nothing we can do here for now, so it's time to figure out how the hell we're making it out of here. Man, Team Cherry really said, what if we took Crystal Dash, but made it go up instead of to the side when they made Silksong, huh? In all seriousness, I actually do really like this ability, and it's just what we need for getting out of the Abyss, so I will indeed be vertical crystal dashing my way out of here. The ascent from the Abyss is one of the coolest sequences in Act 3 for me. I touched on this in a previous part, but I think Team Cherry did such an excellent job with the platforming sequences in this game. None of them are super difficult, like there's nothing on the level of the Path of Pain, but the extra complexity of Hornet's moveset makes the platforming a lot of fun. I look forward to a potential ultra hard platforming sequence in a potential Silksong DLC if that's something Team Cherry decides to add. Returning to Everloom, I've got to go back to those fucking snails I hate and learn the next objective. From them, we obtain the final song of the Needle-In, allowing Hornet to enter the memories of long dead warriors. We'll need this ability as our next objective becomes clear. That delicate flower from Hollow Knight? Well, it's actually a flower called an Everloom. Its pale power is the only way to ward off the darkness of the Abyss. And the only way to make Hornet's memory of the bloom tangible enough to actually grasp it will be through the memory of these lands' greatest tragedies. Actually entering into these memories so Hornet can experience them for herself is going to be the only way to do so we'd better get started. Well, we can get to that in a second. First, it's finally time, for the first time since the Architect's Crest way back in early Act 2, to get an actually usable and balanced crest. The Crest of the Shaman is built for a spellcasting playstyle, so obviously it won't be at its most powerful for this run, but it does have a very respectable moveset, and unlike the Witch's Crest, an actually usable bind. See, unlike the other crests, the heal on the Shaman Crest can't be used in the air, as when you use it, Hornet will shoot to the ground and only heal once she lands. In addition to the less effective heal, the Shaman Crest trades any yellow or red slots for extra Silk skill slots, further reducing its effectiveness for this playthrough. These are what separate the Shaman Crest from something like, let's say, the Wanderer or the Reaper Crest. By all means, the Shaman Pogo is easy to use, but it comes with several downsides for using the crest. I'll definitely be sticking with it for most of the remainder of Act 3, which is basically a glorified boss rush by this point. Remember my whole spiel about the next objective? Collecting 3 hearts and yada yada yada? Well, I lied. We're actually collecting 4. But before that, let me take 5 seconds to thank you so much for watching the video. If you like what you see, it seriously helps out the channel a lot to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I want to try to hit 10,000 subscribers before the start of 2026. And call me crazy, but I think we can do it. All right, back to the video. If you didn't know, there's actually a hidden 4th heart to find in Act 3 from the memory of lost Verdania and at the end of the Green Prince's questline. You can actually use this as an alternative to getting one of the other 3 in the game, but you know what's more fun than that? Getting all 4 of them. Lost Verdania is a nice area. The vibes here are definitely on point. It's a very pretty area and it's nice to explore. The gameplay mostly involves going around and collecting notches of light to eventually unlock the boss of the area. There is also the fight against the Pale Stag, which is technically a boss, but to me it feels like more of a mini-boss, going down on the first try pretty easily. Who doesn't go down on the first try is the Clover Dancers. These guys are basically just Cogwork Dancers version 1.5. They're not really different enough to feel like a version 2.0, and honestly, they're a bit of a disappointment for that. I really love the Cogwork Dancers, so I'm all for fighting another powered up version of them, but this is just a little underwhelming. Their attacks are mostly the same, with a few additions, but it's nowhere near enough of a step up in difficulty to feel satisfying.
Oh, and that hit me too, that's...
Maybe I didn't give them enough credit.
Oh, I'm dead again.
Okay, come on now, what is that? I don't know what was going on here, honestly. I can remember feeling weird and for some reason just playing bad at the start of the stream that day. It's especially annoying for this boss because they have a particularly annoying run back, having to traverse through the entirety of Lost Verdania every time I lose. There we go, that's more like it. Of course, the boss that I talked the most game on actually ends up being a decent amount of trouble. Okay, that's 1 of 4 down. My next objective is the Coral Tower, so it's back to the Sands of Karak. What's funny is that in all my preparation for getting this file into Act 3, such as beating Cygnus and Gron early, I never came to the top of this area, so the Raging Conchfly is still here. This is actually a relatively tough fight, even in Act 3, so it does take me a few tries. I do notice something very interesting about the Shaman crest in this fight though. Normally, the swing speed on this crest is a little bit on the slower side, and that most definitely applies to the Pogo too. However, it's completely different when you actually land the down air.
Drilling for a long time here.
For some reason, the attack speed on this crest is at Wanderer's Crest levels when using the Pogo. Usually this isn't that helpful, since if you just spam the Pogo, you'll miss the attacks because of how high Hornet is sent up from the Pogo. But when a boss room has a low ceiling like this one, sheesh, that damage goes insane.
There we go. Oh my god, okay.
Overall, a decently challenging fight, made even more enjoyable with the restrictions of the challenge. But the true challenge of this area was not some conchfly, oh no. The true challenge comes now. Remember the High Halls Gauntlet? Ooh, 11 waves, how scary. Yeah, try literally 30.
Well, this is not a great start.
Yup. 30 waves of enemies across 3 separate enemy gauntlets with no checkpoints in between. The checkpoint only comes after gauntlet number 3, meaning even once you complete the gauntlet of gauntlets, each attempt against the boss of the area has to go through yet another 8-wave enemy gauntlet.
Of course.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm making progress each attempt though. That second attempt got me halfway into the second gauntlet. The Shaman's crest is really throwing its weight around here. Seriously, I could not ask for a better crest to be doing this with. Such a reliable Pogo. Yeah, I am quite a fan of all of these gauntlets having a defined ceiling at the top of the screen. It allows me to shred through flying enemies, as you just saw. Even the more nimble flying enemies, as long as I can get them cornered, can be melted if I can stay above them at the top of the screen. At this point, I've made great progress and I'm getting pretty close to the end of the third gauntlet, and
Very funny. Good time.
Yep. Okay, third time's the charm.
Dude, I wonder how far into the third one this one's in. It's like that was actually they're literally just the dude from the first part. One down that was
Now I can unlock the checkpoint, and for all future attempts of the boss, I can skip the first 3 gauntlets. Of course, the 4th gauntlet needs to be fought every time, but thankfully it's actually one of the easiest ones. With the gauntlets completed, the hard part of this should be over. That's right. Most people, including myself honestly, would say that doing the gauntlets in the Coral Tower is a harder challenge than the boss itself, Crest King Khan. This is because Khan basically has just one attack. summoning spires of coral to attack Hornet. Dodging this fight all day isn't a problem, but it is definitely much harder to get in hits thanks to the pogo only. This is because the boss loves to jump around a lot, so certain attacks that he does can be unreliable to get punishes in. After a few attempts of the fight, I do eventually get a feel for what attacks will never be safe to punish, what attacks are kinda unreliable, and what attacks will always be safe to punish. The boss has a lot of health though, and since he isn't too hard to dodge, you know what that means.
What is that? No, I pressed the jump button, you liar. No. Dude, I was so tapped in. I get a heal. Why? What am I doing? Oh, my fucking muscle memory. Like, you could literally...
Yep, it wouldn't be the Daniel Pogo only challenge if I didn't make even the easier bosses unnecessarily harder by hitting them with non-Pogo attacks. For context, in the 5 attempts that it took to beat the boss, I actually only died to it once. The other 3 failed attempts were due to messing up the Pogos and hitting the boss normally. And of course, gotta do that damn gauntlet each time. Alright, let me lock in real quick.
Oh god, that is the worst way to start this fight. Yes! Woo! Oh my goodness, boys.
2 hearts down, 2 to go. Next up is the 2 boss combo of Nith and Seth. They are in a very unintuitive section of the map to reach. You actually have to go through the underworks to where the elevator at the Grand Gate first dropped you off. There is a small section here to explore, but really the only thing of note here are the bosses, starting off with Seth. Seth is such a fun fight. He feels much more fitting as the Guardian of the Pollen Heart. Just overall a more complete boss experience. He is a tough customer, and the fight takes quite a bit of getting used to for Pogo only.
I think... No. I want to...
But like every other challenge before, it's only going to be a matter of time.
Yes! Let's go. 07's in the chat. One more 07 in the chat for Seth.
Regardless of my personal thoughts on the matter, Seth is not the Guardian of the Pollen Heart, Nith is. And if you're familiar with this fight, and the crest I'm using, you might have noticed something. a dream. One health in a dream. One health in a dream. First try. Wow, what a great first try. It really came down to the wire, but I pulled through at the end. Funnily enough, the Nith fight is basically unchanged for this challenge, as in her second phase, you do not have a floor to stand on, so the entire fight becomes a pogo only challenge. The issue is that the grounded bind of the shaman's crest kind of needs a floor. So while this fight isn't really made harder in this challenge, I do have to do it without getting a heal off thanks to the crest I'm using. It's the loser's mentality. I didn't actually know if this would work, but using the platform you respawn on when hitting spikes, for the few seconds it sticks around is enough time to get a heal off. The extra health from doing this actually ended up being the reason I won on the first try, so it felt so clutch to do. 3 hearts down, 1 to go. The last heart is located in a section of the Hunter's March that is newly accessible with the Silksong ability. It's another section where I pretty much mostly just run past enemies and I make a break for it straight to Karmelita. Karmelita is by far my favorite of the memory fights in Act 3 and is a strong contender for my favorite boss in the whole game. She's so fun that even the pre-fight enemy gauntlet that you have to do every time isn't enough to take away from how good the fight is. Thankfully, the gauntlet here is super small compared to anything in the Crust King Khan fight, so it's not too annoying. Oh, Karmelita, my beloved. Okay, let me tone it down a little bit. Seriously though, what an excellent fight. I'd say other than Lost Lace, Karmelita is probably the toughest boss in the game. With 3 distinct phases, she is not only a very tanky boss, making for a long fight, but she has a varied moveset with all sorts of attacks. I spent multiple hours learning her moveset before I could beat her on my first playthrough, so I'm very used to this fight. It has been a while since that playthrough, so it does take me a few attempts to get the hang of things. Something I noticed quickly is just how strong being above the boss is. Many of her attacks just don't reach that high, and even her anti-air attacks are relatively reactable when I'm staying above the boss and chaining pogos together. She's not one of the hardest bosses in the game for nothing though. Alright Karmelita, time to lock in. Let's dance. In a dream. What HP in a dream? It's not over yet. I'm still in it. Oh, I love that fight so much, bro. Oh my god. 4 down. The final heart has been acquired. With cinema in the form of a boss fight completed, next up is just straight up pure cinema. Remember the 2 million times so far that I've said, in my first playthrough, this was so cool to see, wow. Alright, so combine how cool it was to see each of those things for every time I've said it so far, double that, and that's how cool seeing this was in my first playthrough. You see her? That's my goat, mommy goat. Oh, her? Yeah, she's also my goat, sensei goat. And of course, last but not least, this is my goat, tree mommy goat. And from the memories of these 3 figures from Hornet's past, Hornet obtains the Everloom. And that's it. Hornet is armed with everything she needs to end this. All that's left is to return to the abyss and face the final challenge. The final, and by what I think is a pretty large margin, hardest boss of Silksong, Lost Lace. All of Lace's moves cracked out with much longer range, speed, and double damage on everything. Not to mention the void moves she spams every other second in her later phases. Of course, for this final boss, I make the switch back to the crest I've always been able to rely on. I will beat this boss with the crest of the hunter. This boss is beyond tough. Over a dozen deaths. Nearly 2 hours of attempts. I was in the air! Coming so close, yet being so far. Death after death after death. Fittingly, Lost Lace has been the single toughest challenge throughout this whole playthrough so far. But just like everything before it, Lace will fall. Getting desperate. She's getting desperate, I can tell. My hands are soaked. I hope you know that, chat. My hands are soaked. A little bit of tidal wave. She's stalling, bro. She's stalling. At this point, we know it, chat. We know it. We both know it that she's just stalling. Oh, that's a stagger. Come on. Bro. How much health does she have left? Yes! Yes! Play a song. We're playing a song, chat. We're playing a song. Let's fucking go! Pogo only. Silksong completed. As of the time of me completing this run on stream, and even still as of writing this script, I am the only YouTuber who has completed all 3 acts of Silksong with only pogoing, at least from the searching I did for other videos. There are other Pogo only playthroughs, such as this amazing Beast Pogo only run from fellow YouTuber Antscan, but my run is the first to get to the true ending. It feels so cool to say that I get to be the world's first at something like this, and I'm really glad I chose this as my idea for my first challenge run. It really was one hell of a time. And that's the end of the video, my very first Silksong challenge run. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and the previous videos on this run, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. I'm gunning for 10,000 subscribers as my next goal for this channel, and we've got a long way to go. I live stream this entire run on Twitch, here on YouTube, and on other platforms, so if you want to watch these runs live, make sure to enable notifications so you don't miss the action. I've already started my next challenge, the Cursed Crest Challenge, and it's been an interesting experience so far. Lastly, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member for as little as $1 a month to gain access to exclusive emotes, in-video shoutouts, and more in the future. And of course, one last thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.